Hey problem solvers, Colfax Math here. Today I'm going to go through this pre-apprenticeship math exam. It's kind of a worksheet. It's 11 pages. I'll put a link in the description. It starts at the very basics of adding, subtracting, multiply, fractions, area, perimeter, and then some view and spatial recognition. So the best way to really learn math is by doing it, but you don't want to practice incorrectly. So you really want to pause that video frequently and watch me do one of the problems and make sure you're doing them correctly. So let's go ahead and get started and knock out some of those basic math skills so we get into an apprenticeship program and get a good trade going in our lives. So let's get started on the pre-apprentice math evaluation exam. These are standard math skills for any apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship to get in. They're great skills to have, and once you go over them and review them, a lot of it will really come back to you. I'll go over some of the tips and tricks I know to do well on these problems. Again, I teach high school math and I also teach woodshop, and I've been a contractor for years. So what I would recommend you do is maybe watch me do one problem, pause the video, and then you do a bunch of them, and then I'll just do a few more so you could check. The link to this exam is in the description. I would print it out and work on paper. So just getting started with addition. The whole point of this really here is number sense and that you line up the columns correctly. So 3 plus 8, this first one, you line them up this way. And then 8, 9, 10, 11. Now pause and then go ahead and work your way all the way through. And then I'll go ahead and jump down to letter H right here. So on letter H here, I have 342, 427, 770. I'm adding all three of those together. This is all about carrying. So I have 2 plus 7, 9 plus 0 is 9. Nothing to carry up here. 4 plus 2 plus 7 is 13. So I put a 3 here, and then I carry the 10 up here. And then I'm going to add 10 more here. So I have 1 plus 3, 4 plus 4, 8. Plus 7, 15. So the answer to that one's 1539. And then let me do one more here. Let's see. I guess I'll just jump down to J. And again, pause the video and make sure you do this first and then check your work. I'm going to line them up one above the other. 9, 8, 7, 7. 5, 4, 3, 1. 1, 1, 2, 3. I start on the right side. All my ones are lined up, my tens are lined up, my hundreds are lined up, and my thousands are lined up. As I progress through here, they get harder, meaning I'm going to carry more up above. So I have 7 and 1, 8, plus 3 is 11. I only put the ones place of 11 here, and I carry the 10 up here. 1 and 7 is 8, and 3, 11. And 2, 13. Carry the 10 up here to the hundreds place. 9 and 4 is 13, 14. Carry the 1 up, 10, 15, 16. And I end with 16,431. All right, turn the page. And this is very similar. The next page is subtraction. Now we're only going to have two numbers. I'll just do the first one and the last one, and then make sure you pause the video and do them yourself and then check your work. So the larger number, or the first number, goes on top. 8 minus 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. And then down here on the last one, J, I have 9, 8, 6, 6, 8 minus 8, 9, 6, 8. So I got to make sure I'm lined up correctly. I have 8, 9, 6, 8. So I have 98,668 minus 8,968. This is going to be the reverse of the addition page, where now I have to borrow if I don't have enough to subtract. So let me just get started and you'll see what I mean. 8 minus 8 is 0. 6 minus 6 is 0. 6 minus 9 will give me a negative number because the 6 is smaller than the 9. So that means I have to borrow to make this a 16. So I borrow from here, from my thousands place. From 8,000 I go to 7,000, and I take that and I make it a 10 here. So now I have 16 minus 9, 7. 7 minus 8, I can't do that because 7 is smaller than the 8. So I have to borrow from the 10,000s place. I change that 9 into a 8, and I bring 10 over here. So I have 17 minus 8, which is 9. And then I have this 8 here. There's no number here, so it's a 0. 8 minus 0 is 8. Let's just take a look at this and see if it even makes sense. What I'm saying is 98,000 minus about 9,000 is 89,000. So I could see that even sounds right, right? I mean, I could see I'm in the ballpark. So that's the right answer on subtraction. All right, turning the page to page 3. We're into multiplication. This is really just knowing your multiplication tables until you get into multiple digits down here. So 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 10 is 70. If you can't remember your multiplication tables, I would print them out and review them. Otherwise, if they're really not quick to your memory, the rest of this is kind of tricky. So I wouldn't spend a ton of time on it, but I'd print out your multiplication table and I would look at it every day for 5 minutes. So let me jump down and do a couple more of these right here. Long multiplication, I'll do D, and then I'll jump down and do I down here. So pause the video here and do all of these and then check them against my work. So on D, I have 722 times 5. So here I take that 5, I work from right to left. I take that 5, multiply by the 2 and get 10. There's no place for a 10, so I have to carry the 1. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. No place for the 11, so I carry it up here. 5 times 7, 35, plus the 1, 36. So 722 times 5 is 3,610. And that kind of makes sense too, like just a quick check. 700 times 5 would be about 3,500. So I could see I have my place value correct. Let me go to a little bit longer one here now. So I have 1,000 times 100. So I have 2,144 times 234. What I have to do here is really keep track of my place value. So all I'm going to do first is the 4 times this whole quantity, have a placeholder, an X right here, and then do the 3 times the whole thing. Double placeholders, 2 times the whole thing. I know I'm not really starting at the very beginning explaining these. This is really more of a review. Hopefully, it'll trigger a lot of these math rules back and you'll be able to do some more practice problems from here. Starting with the 4, 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 4 is 16. Plus 1 is 17. Carry the tens place. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. And then 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so now I've done the 4. Let me change colors here and go to a pink pen. This is just going to be a placeholder right here. And now I'm going to multiply by the 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. Carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. And then 3 times 2 is 6. Again, I keep all of my places pretty well organized. Now I'm down to the, let's see, I'll use a Sharpie here, down to the 2. I have double placeholders, X and X. 2 times 4 is 8. Don't need to carry anything. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2, and then 2 times 2 is 4. I have them all lined up nicely. I add my column straight down. 6, 7 and 2 is 9. 5 and 3 is 8, plus 8 is 16. I put the 6 here, carry the 1. 8 and 1 is 9, plus 4 is 13, plus 8 is 21. Carry the 2. 6 and 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1, 1 and 4 is 5. So then I have every 3 places I have a comma. So I have 501,696. And the general inspection, 2,000 times 200 would be about 400,000, right? Because I'd add 2 zeros on there, which is pretty close to 500,000. So I could see I have the right number of digits in my answer there. Okay, turning the page from multiplication to division. I'll just start at the top. I'll do a couple of these. These are your multiplication table in reverse. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 49 divided by 7 is 7. 819 divided by 7. I don't know how to do that, so I have to use long division here. So what I'm saying here is 819 is divided by 7, right? 819 is divided by 7, so I'm using long division. 7 goes into 8 one time. I put it right below there, and then I subtract. 8 minus 7 is 1. I bring the next digit down, 11. 7 goes into 11 one time. I write the 7 below. 11 minus 7 is 4. Bring down the 9. And 7 goes into 49 7 times. So that's why I said if you really don't have your multiplication tables down, you got to print it out and review it quite a bit. Because it's hard to do this long division, long multiplication, unless you have your multiplication tables down. So let's think about that. Just a general view here. 800 divided by 7 would be in the about 100, so I have the right place values there. Let me do one more of these. We jump down to 8 down here. Again, I would pause the video and do this first and then make sure you did it correctly. 732 divided by 122. So 732 divided by 122. 122 goes into here 4 times would be 480. 5 times would be about 600. 7 times would be too much. So I could see it's going to be about 6 times. I don't really know what that is, so on the side here I do 122 times 6. Long multiplication here, 12, carry the 1, 13, carry the 1, 6 and 1 is 7. And it works out perfectly. I didn't know that was going to happen. So it goes in there 6 times to be 732 with no remainder. So that's division and long division. So then now we're looking at fractions here. Fractions are always kind of what you want out of the total. So what we're doing here is very similar to a tape measure, figuring out how many total pieces there are first. So we got to figure out the total. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So every wedge is 1/16 of an inch. And what you're supposed to shade right here is 1/8. Well, the way you add fractions together is a common denominator. So if I have one of these is 1/16, that's not an eighth. I need one more of them, 1/16. And then if I add another one together, I add across the top to get 2 in the numerator. If I have a common denominator, the bottom number is 16. If it's the same, it stays down here. So that gives me 2/16. And then I reduce that fraction. 2 goes into 2 one time, and 2 goes into 16 8 times. So I could see 1/8 is 2 of these 16ths. So shade in 1/8, I shade in both of these. Go ahead and pause the video and do all of these, and then I'll go back and I'll do a few more of them. So a quarter, well, that one's kind of the easiest. A quarter you could see kind of spatially is going to be 4 of the 16ths, or 1/4 of the circle. 3/8, well, 3/8 is, if 1/8 is 2 of them, then I need to do 3 of them. So I would have, right, 1/8 is 2 of these slices, and I have 3/8, so I'd have to take 3 times 2 slices and color in 6 slices. So here's 1/8, 2/8, and 3/8. So I would color in 3/8, which kind of makes sense because as I moved on, this right here would be my 4/8, and that would be a half, and I could see that's a half. Down here is 5/8. So 5/8 is going to be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, a half, and then 5/8. So 5/8 would be everything inside here. Okay, fractions are really key. Okay, let's start adding fractions. It's not too hard, but you really got to understand the rules of it for both addition and subtraction. For addition and subtraction, you have to have a common denominator. A denominator is the bottom number, and common means the same. So if I have 1/4 plus 3/8, I have to have that bottom number the same. So I can multiply this by 2 to make it an 8. I can't just multiply by 2 because it'll change the value. So I have to multiply it by 1. So I multiply it by 2 over 2. Right? 2 over 2 is the equivalent of 1. Doesn't change the value of it. But now this first term becomes 2/8. The second term is 3/8. I've created that common denominator. Now I just add across the top to get 5, and I keep that same denominator of 8. So 1/4 plus 3/8 is 5/8. All right, I'd pause it here and do a few more of these. I'll do a couple of them. I'll do B, and then I'll jump down and do, say, H. So on B here, I have 5/16 plus 3/4. Addition, subtraction, so I have to have a common denominator. That common denominator is 16. So I'm going to multiply this by 4 over 4. That's equivalent of 1. So now I have this 5/16 plus 3 times 4, 12/16. I have that common denominator. I add across the top to get 17. I keep the bottom 16, and 17/16 is a good answer, or you could convert that into a mixed number by saying 16 goes into 17 one time with 1 left over, 1 and 1/16. Jumping down to H here. So on H here, I have 3/4 plus 25 over 32. Common denominator is going to be 32. How do I get 4 to a 32? I multiply it by an 8. Again, I could only multiply by 1, so as not to change the value. So I multiply by 8 over 8. That's going to give me 24 over 32 plus 25 over 32. I have that common denominator. Add across the top to get 49 over that common denominator of 32. As a mixed number, 32 goes into 49 one time with 17 left over. All right, so there's adding fractions. Let's turn the page and go to subtracting fractions. Very similar. I have to get a common denominator, so I'll do this first one and this last one. I have 1/4 minus 1/8. I need a common denominator. It's going to be 8. So I'm going to multiply this by 2 over 2. That'll give me 2/8 minus 1/8. I have that common denominator. I subtract across the top to get 1. Keep that common denominator of 8. Go ahead and pause the video and do all of these. And then I'll do the last one, H. I have 1/2 minus 1/8. Again, add, subtract fractions. Have to have a common denominator. It's going to be 8. So I'm going to have to multiply this by a 4. I multiply by 4 over 4. That'll give me 4/8 minus 1/8. Subtract across the top to get 3. Common denominator on the bottom, 8. All right, moving right along here. Turning the page to reading a ruler. This is a standard ruler, just like I did at the very beginning with those pie charts. Where is that? with these pie charts right here, you got to figure out how many are the total pieces. So what I do is I count up to see if we're in eighths or sixteenths to 32nds. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 1/4, 8, 12, 16. So each individual mark is 1/16 of an inch. And then the length of the mark gets longer as your denominator gets smaller. So this is 1/16. The next longest line, this one right here, is 1/8. The next longest line right here is 1/4. So this line right here is going to be 1/4. The next longest line is 1/2. And then the longest line is 1 inch. So you could count up the total number of marks and see you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12 to get here. Or you could see that this is a 1/4 inch mark. So you're at 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So that measurement right there is 3/4. The next measurement here, again, these are 16ths, eighths. So I could see the denominator is going to be an 8, right? Because it's not the shortest line, it's the next shortest line. So I have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. But note that this 3/8 is after the 1. So this mark right here is 1 3/8 of an inch. Right here, this is an 1/8, and it's after the 2, so this is 2 1/8. Go ahead and pause the video and do these last ones. And then I'll just show them out really quick here. This is the shortest line. That's going to be 4 1/16, 4 1/2, and then 5, and that's an 1/8 mark. So 5 7/8. So this last one's 5 7/8. If you're in the U.S., you got to understand fractional measurement. That's the way we do it here. Might be the only place in the world, but it is what it is. All right, now we're moving along to area of the following shapes. Area and perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around the outside, so it's the length of this red line here. Area is the whole interior area. So if you're building a house or painting a room, the carpet on the floor is area, the baseboard around the outside is perimeter. So to find the perimeter right here, I would have 4 plus 8 plus 4 plus 8. So that would be 24 feet. And this 4 feet plus 8 feet gives you 12 feet. So the units is still feet. Area is this length times this length, or 8 feet times 4 feet. 8 times 4 is 32. Feet times feet is feet squared. So the area is always going to be in square footage. Right here, the perimeter on the outside would be 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, and the area would be 36. And then lastly down here on D, make sure you pause and do all of these. One sheet of plywood is 4 feet by 8 feet. I always see these a lot better as pictures. 1 tick mark is feet, 2 tick marks is inches. How many sheets of plywood will be necessary to cover an area that's 25 by 32? Well, so 32 long here. 8 is going to go into 32 4 times. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets this way. And then this is 25 feet. So 4 is not going to go into 25 evenly. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7 is 28. So I'm going to have to go 7 sheets here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then throw away the edge. So I have 7 sheets on this side, 4 sheets this way, or a total of 28 sheets of plywood. I know a lot of math here. Hopefully I'm not boring you to death here. So we had perimeter is singular feet, area is square feet, and now we're talking about volume. So volume is actually how much air would go into that room or air into that box. So what is a cubic feet in the cube below? Well, I have 3 feet times the base, 3 feet, which will give me 9 square feet. That's the area of the base, times the height, 3 feet. So now I have 9 times 3, 27 feet squared times feet is cubic feet. So there are 27 cubic feet in that cube. Based on the drawing below, calculate how many cubic feet will be needed to fill in the space. So now you kind of have to understand your views here. So this is the top view of the box. So this is the top view of the box. This is the side view of the box right here. Let me see if I could draw it a little bit better here. So let's draw it like this. All right, so there's our box. That top view is looking straight down on here. This is 50 feet. This width here is 6 feet. And then the side view right here, this 6 feet is the same as this 6 feet. And then this side view is this 2 feet here. So calculate the cubic feet. So I have to multiply it all together. 2 times 6 is 12 square feet times 50 is 600 feet times feet times feet cubic feet. So that's how you find the volume from that multi-view drawing. All right, last page right here, visualizing shapes. Some people are really good at this and some people really have to work on it. Based on the 2 views of the shapes below, draw the top view in the space provided. So this is the end view. If you kind of think of a barn, this is the end view, and then the other side of the barn will be the same end view, and then this is looking straight onto the barn. So this is the side of the roof here. Okay, so now we have to draw the top view. The top view is you're looking from the sky straight down. So this is, say, the ridge of the roof. That ridge of the roof is the same as this going straight back. Or the top view would be that's the ridge of the roof. So I'm in the sky, in my drone, looking straight down on it, and that's what my top view is going to look like. All right. Well, hopefully this helped you. You know, a lot of people haven't seen math in a while, and it takes a while to get used to it. But if you keep working at it, you'll get it. Maybe revisit this video a few times. Don't try and do all of it at once. Kind of work your way through at a time, pausing, doing the problems. And I sure hope this helps you. You know, math is kind of the gateway entrance thing for all apprenticeships, because they know if you're good at math, then you're good at solving problems. You have a logical thought process. So if you like the video, hit like. Love to hear your comments below, what apprenticeships you're thinking of going for and how that entrance exam went. And if you like this channel, this is Colfax Math. It's a practical math channel. If you liked it, go ahead and hit subscribe. Thank you.